Hi everyone. I'm live on YouTube. I'm just waiting for Facebook to pick up the feed and then I shall go live in the Facebook group as well. Looks like it's working. Let's go live. Hopefully you can hear me. Let me know if you are here live. If you can hear me, say hello. Okay, let's pop back here. Good, good. Some of you joining. Amazing. Hi, Annette. Good to see you. Okay, right. So let me just put everything where I need it on my screen. I've got a lot of technology open today. So how's your Tuesday been? Let me know. Hi, Susan. Oh, it's saying it's not going to my Facebook group. That's annoying. But it is. It is. Okay. If you can see me in the group, let me know. Joe can see me. That's good. StreamYard's just being a bit odd. Yeah, looks like it's all working, which makes a change, to be fair. If for some reason you lose the feed on Facebook, just click on the link. I've posted it in the group a few times. Click on the YouTube link and come and join us over on YouTube. YouTube is a lot more reliable than Facebook at the moment for going live like this. So Julie can see me and hear me. Amazing. Hi, Charlotte. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Good to see you all here. So welcome to Wealth Activation Week Day 2. And today I'm going to be talking about something that we don't often share. And I know it comes up a lot for my clients, especially when they work on the higher level with me one-to-one. This is huge, okay? And it is guilt and shame when it comes to money, okay? Guilt and shame when it comes to money. And it's really important that we deal with guilt and shame. And firstly, like acknowledge it. I said yesterday that this work is like shadow work. Like we need to see the stuff that is holding us back. And one of the things that hold us back, I think one of the biggest things that holds us all back is this guilt and shame. Now, I do, when people apply to work with me one to one, we have a call. And one of the things that I ask is, what's stopping you? And a lot of times they say, well, I'd love to shift from five to £10,000. And but then I feel like, what do I need that much money for? And then I feel a bit ashamed and a bit greedy. These are all words that have really sticky emotions attached to them, don't they? I mean, we don't just say these words. We feel these words when we say them. Right? We can say love and like and happy and joy. We can say those kinds of things, but when we say words like shame and guilt, like I noticed my lips sort of turned up a bit then and my tummy went, ooh. Who here has ever felt shame or guilt around money? Let me just say before you answer that, one of the things that I am pretty darn good at is creating safe spaces. And Anne Voskamp said in her book that shame dies when it's spoken in safe places. Okay. And I mentioned this yesterday that a lot of the work is done in the observation of the thing, right? And so I want you to know that I'm holding a safe space for you to share your shame and guilt around money. Now, if you feel called, I'd love for you to share some guilt or shame that you've had around money. And it's up to you how much you share. I was asked something about when I was growing up yesterday on some training that I was doing. And like I quite openly said, well, I'm only really comfortable sharing some of that. And so this is what I'm comfortable sharing. So please don't feel like you have to, like, you don't have to tell me everything if you don't want to. But let me know if you've had guilt or shame around money. And if you feel called, let me know a little bit more about that. And also know that when we speak that shame, when we feel ready and called to speak that shame, that's when it loses its power. That's when that awful burning feeling inside of you starts to reduce. Okay. So, oh, Annette's in the middle of a major declutter. Yes, it is therapeutic. And when you declutter, this is a bit of an aside, when you declutter, it creates a space for the energy to come into. And so, oftentimes, because decluttering makes you feel so good, the line to your energy is much clearer. Yeah, love it. Okay, Julie says, guilt when I've had plenty, shame when I've not had enough. It's like a no-win situation, Julie, isn't it? Thank you for sharing. Susan says, I have shame and guilt around not being as financially successful as I should be. Yeah, that comes up a lot as well. Like, I thought I'd be further along than I am by now, right? Yeah. Um, Mel says, definitely, I feel guilty about spending on myself. Yeah. Charlotte says, I've had guilt and shame around money, as I know. Yes, Charlotte's been working with me in one of my higher level programs. So we've talked a lot about that, haven't we? I'm just going to switch over to Facebook and see. Um, Joe, I just saw your win there. That's amazing. Make sure you share that on the Thursday thread as well. Joe's had shame and guilt around debt. It stayed with me for years and didn't feel like I deserved to do well or have money. Now, an interesting thing that comes up a lot for my clients is debt and shame around having debt. And one of the things that we tell ourselves that isn't necessarily true, in fact, I know for a fact it's not true, is that I can't be abundant and have debt, that I can't have savings and have debt. And I'm here to tell you that that is absolutely possible. Yeah. What we tend to do is we tend to live in the shame of our debt and then punish ourselves over and over for being in debt. Well, I can't have nice things because I'm in debt. Well, I can't, if I do that, then I get more in debt. I can't have savings if I'm in debt. Yeah. All of these things, if you have a bit of savings, then you feel guilty because you have a bit of savings. Do you know, one of the things that I found out long, long time ago when I realized that I needed to sort my money situation out was I went through what was called, it's not called it now, a debt management plan. And one of the things that I had to do was to submit a budget and then speak to a debt counselor. And the debt counselor said, well, what about going to the gym? Or do you do any classes? What about food at work? How do you pay for that? And I was like, am I allowed to have those things? And she was like, of course you are. I was like, I didn't know that. She said, you can put your cat food on there as well. But surely having a cat's a luxury, isn't it? She's like, no, no, you are allowed to have things. Can't be excessive on a debt management plan. I don't think they do them anymore. But you are allowed to have things for yourself. You're allowed to have food. You're allowed to have exercise. You're allowed to have a pet that makes you feel happy. Yeah. Um, and that was like a really big aha moment for me. Like, even though I was in debt, I didn't have to really punish myself. Yeah. It's really a really challenging thing, this whole carrying debt thing, and it becomes part of our identity. Oh, well, I haven't got savings because I have debt. All right. So I'm picking on that simply because this is a narrative that I often find myself needing to say several times to the same people, not because they're not listening, but because it creates this dissonance in their mind because their story has been for so long, I can't have nice things and debt. I can't have savings and debt. Yeah. And you drag that debt around like it's a heavy, heavy bag. Right now, I am not here saying get in debt. I'm not saying that at all. Ideally, we would either like the debt to be paid down or we'd like smart debt. Okay. And my friend Sarah Poynton Ryan talks a lot about using debt in a smart way. She focuses on property, but there are many other ways to do that. So, like, there are different types of debt. Some of them are really helpful and some of them are not helpful. Okay. But they're not all the same. And regardless of the debt that you have, you can still have an abundant life. Okay. And like, like I said, I'm not supporting getting into debt, but I want you to know that that is a story that you no longer have to listen to. Yeah. I'm not saying go and get into more debt. I'm saying there are ways that you can have debt and savings and feel more secure, right? That is one of the first things that I teach you to do in the academy. That is to create a buffer so that you don't need to go into debt. And then after that, we start saving. Yeah. And it happens so fast because what you put your attention on, that's where the energy goes, right? Um, Annette said, definitely had plenty of guilt and shame when I've had money and wasted it on unnecessary things. I feel that, Annette. £100,000 in credit card debt. Can't tell you a single thing that I bought with it. Not not one thing, not one thing, not one experience. I don't know what I spent that money on. And I spent a long time in shame and guilt around that. I couldn't even tell anyone that. I think I only started talking about that maybe 2 years ago, because I had so much shame. I think I talked that I had £100,000 in debt, but that bit where I didn't know what I'd spent it on, it was too shameful for me. The more I speak it, the shame's gone of it now. It's just a fact. You know what? Did I make my best decisions in that period of my life? No. Do I wish I'd done it differently? Yes. Am I going to feel guilty or ashamed of it? No, not anymore. Not anymore. Yeah. Annette says, I'm really good at beating myself up when I get into a mess financially. I bet you're really good at beating yourself up, full stop, Annette, because money just sort of amplifies that thing that we do to ourselves anyway. Yeah. Um, and right, this is the thing, right? We go, I've got debt. Oh, I'm so rubbish. I've got debt. Oh, why did I do that? I made such bad decisions. Oh, like we really do whip ourselves over this sort of thing, don't we? Yeah. Susan says, first thing I do when I get a chunk of money is to pay off all my credit cards. That's not a bad thing to do. That's not a bad thing to do. And could you save a little bit as well? Yeah. Like I said, we go into this in Money Alchemy Academy, but just understand that there are ways that you can have both. Yeah. Yes, Annette. It's like, I know you're right. Sounds about right. Yeah. Like, honestly, our relationship with money literally shines a light on our relationship with ourselves. Yeah. So I know if you've got guilt and shame about money, you've got guilt and shame about some things that you've said or done or thought, right? I know that. And they pop up at the most inconvenient times and they keep you awake at night and you keep playing them over and over and over and over again. And the pain of it never gets any smaller. All right. Yeah. It's and I know this because I've been doing this for so long and I've worked with so many people with the same things. And I want you to know, like, I have them too. We're all special. I'm special and we're all not special. We're all the same as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, we all have these same things. So Lisa said, I feel guilt and shame for not feeling guilty about spending on myself. Lisa, that is an indicator of your money personality, actually. I've got a few guesses as to what that might be. But you're in good company as well. Yeah, like you feel guilty for not feeling guilty about spending money on yourself. Whereas you'd have someone at the opposite end of the money personality scale, and they would feel so guilty about buying a pair of socks that they didn't have socks with holes in that they wouldn't buy themselves a new pair of socks, right? So you've got this retrospective guilt and shame, whereas they have it like they preempt it. Yeah. Rachel says, my issue is I don't feel shame and guilt. That's amazing. However, I am in debt and I can spend money very easily. Again, that's your money personality. Yes, celebrity. I was going to go celebrity or romantic. It was one of the two. Definitely. Definitely. Okay. Ah, there you go, Susan. Susan says, well, then I don't have any money, so I run up the credit cards again. This is the thing, right? Having savings can actually get you out of debt. Yeah. If you have a pot of money, it doesn't have to be a big pot of money. I think in Money Alchemy Academy, it's like £1,500, which is about just over 2,000 US dollars. Like, and I know that can sound like a lot of money, but when my clients actually go and do this, they do it in months rather than like years. It happens really fast. My client Claire, she shared this, so it's not breaking any confidentiality. There's a video on Facebook about this. She was like, no, I'm never going to be able to save £1,500. It's going to take me at least a year. And she came back 4 weeks later and she was like, I've done it. I've got a buffer. And now her buffer is twice that. And it has transformed her life. She doesn't go further into debt because of that. Yeah. It's a really like, it sounds weird, and when you before you've done it, it's weird, and then you do it, and all you just feel is smug. It's just like, "Yeah." It's fabulous. Okay. So, as I said, I have carried around so much guilt and shame around money. I've been ashamed when I didn't have enough, like I wasn't doing something, like I'm sorry, I felt ashamed when I did have enough. That's where I got the issue with shutting down my business, my first business, well, it was my second business, but my Amazon business, because I felt like I wasn't worthy of wealth. Like I felt like I must be doing something wrong because I'm not clever enough to have a successful business. I'm not worthy enough to have a successful business. I had all this guilt about the the tax man in the USA, and like it was never a thing. I have felt so bad about spending that £100,000. I felt bad about saving. I can't have savings because I've got debt. That this is how I felt in the past. And I have felt honestly every time I put an offer out, I'm like, I have this twinge of guilt. Is it too much? But I know now what my pricing creates. Yeah, I know what my pricing creates. And so I know that if I don't charge enough, people don't do the work and they don't get the transformation. That was such a hard thing for me to do. At the beginning of this year, some of you might have noticed my pricing was all over the shop, all over the shop. And that was me going through an up level, feeling ashamed, feeling guilty. And then I was like, no, this is my price. This is what gets people results. This is where I'm at. Okay. And I know that, if you don't want to or you aren't ready to do my £10,000 one-to-one, then there's a book that you can get. You know, there's a visualization you can get. There's a program you can join. I've got stuff that appeals to everyone now, and I've found that's really helped with the guilt and shame of charging the higher level stuff. So yeah, so we're going to do a little visualization in a bit about releasing your money shame. Now, the more you do this work, the more it works. Okay, so you're going to get a lovely feel from it today. But let's just talk about, where does your financial guilt come from? Where does your financial guilt and shame come from? Just drop it in to the comments. Where does it come from? Let me know where your financial guilt or shame comes from. Parents, Lorraine says. Yeah. Anyone else? Parents, husband, others? Parents' upbringing, ex-husband? So it's not even ours, is it? Right? It's not even ours. It's someone else's judgment on us. Someone else's judgment being placed on us, or our perception of their judgment. Yeah. So, like, it's not even ours. And yep, Julie says my family. Annette says my parents, my mum was always saying we can't afford things. Yeah. And we create these patterns with our own family and friends as well, don't we? We perpetuate them. It's just like these things just fall out of our mouths. Charlotte says, today I was thinking about this. I realized I worry because I was used to worrying as a child. Exactly. As much as it pains me, we repeat our patterns over and over again. And oftentimes we repeat our parents' patterns over and over and over again, just like they repeated their parents' patterns over and over again. And that's why these types of trainings are so powerful, because they help you think about it and go, oh, call that out. Call that out. Yeah. Charlotte said it's funny because I didn't worry about money. Yeah. Be worried about everything else. And the way you do money is the way you do everything else. Like, it can be hard to see sometimes. Yeah, there you go. It was about being punished. Whew, yeah, worried about being punished. And so we punish ourselves, don't we? We get in debt, we punish ourselves one way or another. If I said to you, you could 10x your income, if I said to you, you could 10x your income, which, by the way, is entirely possible. Okay, whether you work in a job, it's a little bit harder if you work in a job, but it is definitely doable. Um, or if you have a business, if I said to you, you could 10x your income, and it will depend on your money personality. Think about the income that you have now. What would happen if you 10 times that? How would you feel about having 10 times the income? How would you feel? So I'm just thinking about that now. That would be with both my businesses combined, that would be that yeah, that would be over 1 million. And it's really interesting what's coming up for me. Susan, double it again. Double it again. Let's 20x it. Sit with it for a moment. What comes up? Some of you would be absolutely like, yay, this is amazing. Charlotte would be relieved. Is there any guilt or fear that comes up? There you go. Serge says, shame that I have debt and then feel guilty for buying nice things. Yeah. So what if you multiplied it again? Make it even bigger. Oh, my tummy just went, oof. You're doing really well. Yeah. Charlotte says, I feel like I deserve it. Yeah. Maybe we're not going big enough then. What number would make you feel a little bit ashamed or guilty? Is there a number? No, not everyone will have this. Not everyone will have this. The celebrities, the romantics, you probably won't have this. Yep, Susan's definitely one of those for sure. Yeah, love it. Okay, so I'm one of the fear-based archetypes. I've got one of the fear-based personalities. And as much as I want to have 10x the income, it literally makes my solar plexus spin and not in a good way. All right. So if you're one of those people like an accumulator, a ruler, an alchemist, yeah, possibly a connector. Yeah, Susan says, but I'm a bit worried I might burn out getting there. Not necessarily, because that's another thing that we're taught. We're also taught to be ashamed of money when it's easy. Yeah. So, like, if money is easy, then we often discount it. We go, yeah, but I didn't earn it. You don't have to work hard for money. That is a narrative. That is one true story, but there's also ways to make money without working hard. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like I'm one of the only fear-based ones here. Yeah, Lucienne, she's a romantic. Love that, Loretta. Never feel guilty for having money. Yeah, thank you, Lorraine. My number that I'm comfortable with is 250,000. Anything above that scares me. Is that 250,000 pounds a month, Lorraine, or a year? Let me know. I love playing around with this. I do this on the VIP for the challenge. We play around with the numbers and see how we feel about the money. Yeah, I know, right, Susan? That's a problem I'd love to have. Yeah, feels good, but I'm currently earning less than I was 20 years ago. Yes, yes, absolutely. So here's the thing. I want you to really think a year. Lorraine says a year. So what if I said 250,000 pounds a month, Lorraine? Because that's possible as well. Some of the people that I work with are at 250,000 pounds a year, a month, which is insane for me. Like, I look at them and I'm in awe. Um, it's amazing. Let's have a look at the comments. See, here's one of the things, right? One thing that we need to do is to expand our containers, and we manifest what we want. Okay, not not in our conscious mind, but in our subconscious mind. And we're not always aware of what our subconscious mind is wanting. If there is a disconnect between what you have and what you want in your conscious mind, there's a real chance that you've got some fear, shame, or guilt going on in your subconscious mind. Yeah. We are only limited by our subconscious mind, what we want. And again, it's different between what you want in your conscious mind and what you want in your subconscious mind. Yeah. So allow that to percolate. Allow that to percolate. See what comes up. Yeah. Because if you aren't making that 10x amount now, what is it that's stopping you doing it? What is it that's stopping you doing it? Lorraine was like, nope, stomach gone as soon as you said that. Yeah. So, yeah, this is powerful. This is a powerful realization, Charlotte. I've been so used to living in punishment. Yeah. Money has been used to punish us, for sure. Now, what money mistakes have you made? I have some really good news for you, by the way. What money mistakes have you made? And again, only share what you feel called to share. What money mistakes have you made? I'll give you some of mine. I lost a whole wad of cash. I think it was about £700. I don't know why I took it out of the bank, but I took it out of the bank and I lost it between the bank and the tube station. Um, that I don't know why I did that. I don't know where that money went. It never materialized. I don't think I was near anyone, so I don't think it got stolen. I don't know. I had a house repossessed. I had £100,000 in debt. I put my ex-husband's debt in my name because I thought I was being nice. Um, a few mistakes. A few mistakes. Well, also like pulling out of my successful business. That was a big mistake. Um, those are the sorts of mistakes that I have made around money. And what was really interesting was because I had a house repossessed, I had this story that I couldn't get another mortgage. And actually, I could get another mortgage, and I did get a mainstream mortgage with a mainstream bank. And I remember when they sent through the mortgage offer, and the offer that they made was about, it was just under £100,000 more than we'd asked for. Um, and Mark was like, "That's amazing." I was like, "No, it's not. We're not drawing down all of that money." And I felt like phoning the bank and saying, "You remember I can't be trusted, right? Like, why are you giving me all this money and more?" And it created a lot of tightness in my tummy. I had a lot of anxiety. Ugh, 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 ugh. And so that whole story about like I can't be trusted with money, that came from that repossession. But the bank trusted me with money. They trusted me with more money. So I've been beating myself up, dragging around that money mistake. And they're like, it's fine, time served, it's done, you know? So let's have a look. Oh, Julie, yesterday I paid a non-refundable deposit for an apartment, then realized it was the wrong apartment. Ugh, that's annoying. Yeah. Um, Susan said, I did that once, not as much money, but a big chunk for me at the time. I told myself someone else who needed it more than me found it. Yeah. Yeah. So what are your other money mistakes? Oh, Lorraine, my family took my inheritance and I didn't fight for it. I'm so sorry. That is awful. That is a money trauma when people take money from you like that. That's horrible. I'm so sorry that happened. Um, yeah, not making investments, not buying a house. Loretta says overspending, not involved savings, but making bad purchases. Yeah, like, do you want some good news? Like, we carry this around even when we justify it, like, oh, well, maybe it's gone to a better home or something like that. Oh, Mel says, I handed in my notice after after a long time off because I was too scared to go back and haven't worked since. Oh, so that was a long time ago now. Oh, Charlotte spent about £200,000 and making decisions without reading the small print. Mm, yeah, so that's all about paying attention. That's Money Magic Foundation number 2. It's about paying attention to what money's coming in and also what money's going out, understanding that. So the good news is, are you ready for it? The good news is money has already forgiven you for it. In my world, we work with money as if she's a feminine being, a good friend, someone who's always been there for you. And we talked about that yesterday, didn't we? She has always been there for you. Yeah. Way more than any other friend. And remember, we were picking up the gems, weren't we, as we went? Now, she's already forgiven you because she is like this evolved goddess type being. Like her love for you, her connection to you is unconditional from her end. It's only you that put the conditions on the relationship. And when I realized this, I was like, "Oh, okay, so if money's already forgiven me, just like that example with the bank, right? With the bank and the mortgage, if money's already forgiven me, why am I beating myself up? Why am I just like, do you know what? I'm human. I made a mistake. That's exactly the point of being human, right? I truly believe that we're here to experience contrast, but that doesn't mean we have to beat ourselves up. Money has already forgiven you for any mistakes. Just breathe that in, okay? Money has already forgiven you. So let's put that down, shall we? Let's put that down. Okay, so I've overrun as usual. Okay, so what I'd love for you to do now, we're just gonna release some of that shame, some of that guilt, get things moving. I'd like you to put your feet on the ground if you can, but don't worry if you can't, just imagine they're there. Take a lovely deep breath in, remembering to breathe into your tummy. Let it expand as you breathe in and breathe out. Let your tummy, what's the word? As you exhale, let your tummy go in. Inhale, tummy fills up. Exhale, tummy goes down. And when you feel called, if you feel called, close your eyes. If you want to keep your eyes open, just allow them to soften in gaze. You don't need to look at anything. You can just allow your eyes to gaze or close. And I want you to imagine that you can see in front of you this large, heavy sack bag type material. It's like a big, heavy sack made into a heavy rucksack. And inside of it, when you look in there, is all this dark, slimy, sticky guilt and shame that you've been carrying around money. All the mistakes that you've ever made around money. You see how it just moves like a slow moving tar. And as you lift it, you feel just how heavy it is. When you put it on your back like a rucksack and you feel how it pushes your shoulders down, it makes it harder to breathe. It makes it harder to stand. It makes it harder to do anything. It just feels so heavy. Just feel the weight of this bag made of sack material with all this guilt and shame inside of it. Gosh, it's so heavy. And now take it off your shoulders, place it on the floor. And imagine that you can see a river, fast moving. And I want you to open up the bag, take out every guilt, every shame, every mistake you've made with money, and just throw it into the river. Trust that the water and nature will do what it needs to do to alchemize it, to transform it, and feel the release as the bag empties bit by bit. Let all the guilt, all the shame, all the mistakes fall into the river and get swept away. And when you lift the bag, it's light. There's nothing in it. You feel how tall you are now, how confident you feel. Your shoulders drop back and you can breathe more easily without the weight of this shame, these mistakes, and this guilt. You see all those mistakes, the shame and the guilt, drifting, speeding along in the river out of sight. And you realize that you are no longer tied to these. You've put them down, you've let them go. And today, this day, you have started to free yourself from the guilt and the shame that may have been holding you back from experiencing true abundance. Because when you carry guilt around money or shame or mistakes, it clouds your abilities to see the opportunities and wealth available to you. And you've let go of that now, and you're making space for new and joyful ways of engaging with money. And whenever you notice a feeling of guilt or shame or a mistake coming up around money, you now just pause and gently remind yourself that you are releasing this. And you throw it in the river and it washes away because you deserve to experience wealth and abundance without guilt, without shame. Take a lovely deep breath in and give your toes a wiggle. Give your hands a wriggle. Just move in your body. And when you're ready, take a lovely deep breath in and out and come back. And I'd like for you to just shake your arms and your body, your legs, your head to shake off any residual shamey, guilty energy. Shake that off. You might be yawning or like me burping. Burps and yawns. They're the things that I do when I'm releasing something big. How was that? How was that letting all that crap go? How are you feeling? Lisa liked that. She said it was amazing. Oh, I feel much lighter. I feel much lighter. How are the rest of you feeling? Yeah, Lorraine says feels lighter, right? Imagine if you do that over and over, Lorraine, and everyone. If you do that every time. Susan was worried about polluting the river. It's all energy, so it's fine. The river will transmute it. Yeah, the river will transmute it. Don't worry about that. It's a very clever river. Love it. Love it. Okay. So that is the wealth activation day 2. It's all about letting go. Basically, what we're doing is we're removing the blocks to your abundance. This work will go even deeper the more you do it. All right. We've just scratched the surface, and as you go deeper into this work, you will start to see the blocks. Yeah, you will start to see where the fear and the scarcity creeps in, And you will start to see how the more you open up and expand your container, the more money flows to you. I absolutely love doing these types of sessions. And if you have enjoyed today, which has just been about 40 minutes, please do come to my live in-person event, which is in Eastleigh on the 7th of November. Tickets are on sale now. There is a payment plan. This event is run at cost. There's no profit involved, trust me. And I'll even treat you to lunch, but I wanted to create a lovely environment for people to come and spend the whole day. Doing 40 minutes is great, but if you spend a whole day, you're going to get more shifts, you're going to get more awareness. So come and join us on the Day of Money live event. I'm just popping the links into the comments for you. Loretta says she feels powerful. Yeah, come and join us. There's only a few tickets left, so come and join us. Don't miss out. It is in Eastleigh in Hampshire. I know someone was interested who was coming from Wales. People come from Wales, they come from Scotland. So the last event, like, they loved it. So don't worry about it being a little way. It's definitely going to be worth it. And we don't start until 10 and we'll finish at about 4, half 4. So there's plenty of time for travel. So come and join us for more of this, much more depth, much more intimacy and interaction with myself. And I've got one of my amazing business buddies coming to deliver one session as well that is going to be incredible. So come and join us. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 3 of the Wealth Activation Week. And yeah, hope you're enjoying it. See you later.